why your trash classmates make the varsity basketball team over you. Let's dive into it. The reason why your classmates that don't even try for basketball make varsity over you is because they're not spazzing out. When you are in the game, you overthink every single move that you do. You're moving so slow because you're hesitating. You don't trust yourself. And because you work so hard for basketball, you're a perfectionist. And if you're not doing something right, you immediately think about it like, oh man, I should have spun off the other foot. Oh, my pivot wasn't perfect. You're shooting yourself in the foot. This is exactly what I needed to hear when I was your age, man. I don't mean to be too harsh, but this is what you need. You're being a perfectionist, which is good in a lot of ways, but it sucks when you're in game because you're overthinking everything. The guys that don't even practice and they just do this for fun, they're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. You're not having fun, are you? Like, if I ask you the question, when was the last time you had fun in basketball? It might be hard for you to remember. And that's a problem, man. Basketball is supposed to be fun. But you're spazzing out. The guys that are making the varsity team over you and they don't even train hard, they have what I call blissful ignorance. They trust themselves because they don't know how deep this goes. They don't understand that there's levels to this stuff. When I was in my freshman year of high school, I didn't really know how to train, but I was starting to learn the best practices. Like, how can I get more out of my workouts, right? And I didn't really start to fully get it until my sophomore year of high school, like the end of my sophomore season, and then into my junior year and after that. And I found that the guys that made the varsity team before me, or, they were just upperclassmen, they were okay, they didn't take basketball that seriously, they didn't understand any of that. And so, in their mind, they're thinking, oh yeah, I'm on the same level as all these other guys. Even if the other guys were working really hard, they didn't even know they were. Because they just didn't see that. It's ignorance. And with that ignorance came an advantage. They just felt like, yeah, I can compete with anybody. Right? One other thing I want to take into account is when I first started really trying to get better at basketball and this became my obsession, I didn't recover enough. And the guys that didn't take this seriously, that just, rested unless there was a team practice that day, they were fully recovered basically all the time. And that kills you, man, because your body needs some time to rest. When you go to the gym, your muscle builds not when you're in the weight room. That's when it gets broken down. It builds when the muscles rest. Now look, you can still do a lot. You can. For me, I lift about 6 times a week. But the way I do it is I'll hit, for example, back and buys on a Monday. But then I don't hit it again until that Thursday. So I have about 72 hours between the time I hit it and then the next time I hit it. So within that time, the muscles can recover. However, I'm hitting the other muscle groups on Tuesday and Wednesday. So chest and tris are going to get hit, and then legs, right? So it's an endless going cycle. So every 72 hours or so, I'm hitting that muscle. But my whole body is going to get hit in the weight room, twice a week, which is great. Next thing I want to say, bro. Look, if you're still watching to this point, you probably are a lot like younger me. And the advice that I'm going to say would have been perfect for younger me. I don't mean to offend you, but it might. You aren't as good as you think. You are not as good as you think. I thought I was the man in my sophomore and freshman year. But I was not. Man, I was so delusional with my skill level. And I needed to be humbled. I didn't make the varsity team my freshman year, and I was benched on the varsity team in my sophomore year. After that pain, that's when I really locked in and I had a breakout season. My sophomore year of high school, 13 points on the season for varsity, and then junior year, 410. Quite a big jump. Once you recognize that you are not at the skill level you need to be at in order to make the varsity team, you're not going to get the results you want unless you realize that. You need to be honest with yourself. A lot of people talk about, yeah, man, I'm an honest person. I don't lie to anybody. But you know what? They lie to themselves. Man, it might be tough. It might be a hard pill to swallow. But that's the best way to grow. And your confidence will build once you get in the gym and actually put in the work. Last thing I want to mention, you are putting yourself on a higher level than the other guys on your team that don't take basketball serious, right? But you are on the same level as them if you don't have a plan for improvement. You say you work harder than them. You say that you put in more reps, you put in more hours. But your workouts are inefficient, so the gap between you and them isn't that wide. If you do shoot-arounds like, 4 times a week for a couple hours, okay, cool. Maybe you're putting more time in than them, right? But you're not getting much out of that time. Let's say just once a day, 5 days a week, you had a specific workout plan for basketball for 90 minutes. That's it. An hour and a half every day. But you had a specific plan of what you're going to do. Okay, for a half hour, I'm just going to focus on my shooting. For the next half hour, I'm going to focus on my ball handling. And then the last hour, I'm going to see if I can one-on-one my friend, or I can do some kind of different, focus on this, right? Like, when you have a plan, your leverage in your training, your effectiveness in your training just goes through the roof. So if you don't have a plan right now and you have no clue how to create a lifting routine, a basketball routine, you don't know how to do all that, I got you, bro. I made something called the Varsity Basketball Blueprint. It is everything that younger Mark needed when he was going up the ranks through high school basketball. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, click that link in the description. Alright, man, I hope this video was valuable for you. I hope it helped you. And if you would like to learn the biggest mistake that's keeping you off of varsity, click this video. But as always, keep God first. Stay blessed, bro. Love you, man.